quick, just a really nice trivia question. Yes, before I say anything else right away, throw another trivia question at you guys. Does anyone know what is a Caesar? Caesar, spelled exactly like the salad and the king, but it's not the salad and it is not the king. Anyone?
Well, I've been here 3 weeks, so it's like a Bloody Mary, but it has clam juice in it.
Yes, very nice.
Oh.
A Caesar, it is a cocktail. It is the Canadian version of the Bloody Mary cocktail. It's made of vodka, tomato juice, clam juice, Worcestershire sauce, and we'll also put a celery stick and sometimes bacon on top. I know it sounds a little bit disgusting, but trust me, it is very delicious, very popular here in Canada. If you guys ever want to try out a Canadian Caesar, I would recommend this pub right behind us, Score on King. 2 reasons why I recommend this place. Number one, it's very popular amongst local people. And the second reason, it's right next to a church. So if you guys ever had too much to drink, you just cross the street and all your sins will be forgiven. Right? Although I don't really recommend doing that because the Caesar drink is supposed to be a hungover drink. That tomato juice in there is supposed to help you recover faster from a crazy night out. If you do try out a Canadian Caesar from here, this pub specifically, they also put onion rings on top of their drinks, so it's like a little something extra, okay? All right, okay, so this is it for the really quick. Very nice. Well, before Toronto was called Toronto, it was first called Town of York. At the time, we had a bad sewer system. It would rain quite a lot. Every time when it rained, the streets would get super dirty and muddy. And why we had quite a few bad nicknames, such as Dirty Little York, Muddy Little York, or something along the same line. And there are quite a few Yorks that existed in the world already, such as New York and the United States. Indeed, it is a forbidden food, where if you eat it, you gain knowledge and wisdom. And now, for 1 point, can anyone guess what this last piece of artwork is right behind us? Piece of food. Yes, very nice. Thank you. It is the face of Adam. It's a little bit abstract, but this face, it is sideways. The highest point is the nose, second highest point is the chin, and the neck goes down this way. Well, the reason why they made this piece of artwork sideways, because in the story of creation, so actually I have just a little deal with this hotel. Basically, I take their guests out for tours like this, and in return, they let me keep my money inside this vault. I'm just kidding, okay. In Toronto, Canada, we have 5 mint banks. Mint banks mean the biggest banks that handle the most money. So first, we have CIBC, that stands for Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. And then we have RBC, which stands for the Royal Bank of Canada. We have Scotiabank, which is the Bank of Nova Scotia. BMO, which stands for Bank of Montreal. And then the last of them is TD Bank, which stands for the Dominion Bank. This vault once belonged to TD Bank, the Dominion Bank. The door itself over here weighs about 40 tons. And at the time, they used 16 horses and 8 men just to move this vault inside the space. There's a little special feature to this vault. This door and these doorways, they're very precisely engineered. If you put something small, such as a paperclip, in their doorway, and you try to push the button and close the door, it simply just will not close. They mainly introduced this safety mechanism to protect their staff because they don't want to get anyone locked up in there while they're working. Now, you might be wondering, Maria, would this be a stupid idea? Because what if someone tries to rob the vault, right? Well, very luckily, there has not been one single heist being done to this vault in all throughout Canadian history. So you guys can imagine how safe it was. It was considered the safest vault in all over Toronto at one point. But of course, as of right now, this fault is no longer a functional fault, but it is an office space for a construction company, Maystar. They're usually here on the weekdays, Monday to Friday. So gentlemen will be in here talking or in a meeting or on the phone or on the computer. But they're not here today, so I can speak loudly and freely. Thank you. Yes. What you can also do with this vault is you can book this for personal usage, such as private parties and whatnot. What a lot of people do is that they would book this vault for taking wedding photos, which it is a symbolism that you're locked in with one person for the rest of your life, which I find it quite cute. Okay? Yes. Now here comes a very fun trivia question. It's about finance, since we're in the financial district. Does anyone know what is a loonie? L-O-O-N-I-E. I think we have some Canadian.
Looney. What do you mean?
Yes, it's $1. It's about $1 Canadian one. It's very nice. 1 point for you. Yes, very nice. A loonie, L-O-O-N-I-E. It is a $1 Canadian coin. So let me just grab my props over here. Okay, so this is the $1 Canadian coin. On one side, it is Queen Elizabeth II. Okay, right here. Kind of hard to see, to be honest. Okay. And then on the back side, there is an animal called a loon. L-O-O-N. It's a bird that kind of looks like a duck. Because of this animal, a loon, Canadians started calling this coin a loonie. This coin, it was introduced in 1987, mainly to cut down costs to replace paper bills. And at the same time, they're also pressured by all the vending machine operators and transit groups as well, which is why they introduced this $1 Canadian coin. Now, a few years later, in 1995, they introduced the $2 Canadian coin. Now, what is a $2 coin called? Yes, very nice, 1 point. Yes, there you go. It was $1 coins, loaning, so $2 coin, Toonie. And our company name? Toonie Toys, yes. So this is the $2 Canadian coin over here. One side is also. Right now we have arrived inside this underground pathway in the city called the Path. Now, can anyone guess how long is the path in kilometers? Okay, I'll give you guys one hint. There are 27 businesses in here, so it should be somewhere along the same line.
25 kilometers.
A little more than that, more than 27.
32.
I heard someone said 32. You said 32? I said 40.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
You said
32.
32, yes. 1
Oh.
point. Very nice.
Nice.
This path, it is 32 kilometers long. What we have visited so far, it's only a very tiny portion of this path. This path, it is spread out all over downtown Toronto in different districts. It's connected to a lot of different things. For example, subway stations, CN Tower, connected to Eaton Center Shopping Mall. It's connected to different business buildings. Inside this path, we have restaurants, banks, dental clinics, department stores, a lot of different things, all right? So the reason why we have this path is obviously in case there's a zombie apocalypse, you can all come down here to, no, I'm just kidding, It's because of apocalyptic winters, okay? In Toronto, usually we have 2 to 3 months of summer, and then all year long, it's either fall or winter. And it could get quite cold in the winter, usually minus 10 to minus 15 degrees Celsius, but it could get down to minus 28 as well, which is why we kind of need this path, so hopefully we can all survive in the winter, okay? Well, usually when we walk inside this path, during the weekdays, we will see that there are quite a few people dressed in suits and office attire, because this path is mainly dedicated to office people who work on weekdays 9 to 5. So today's a Sunday, so it's a weekend. That's why all the businesses here, most of them, they're not operating simply just because they don't make enough profits to be doing so, which is why when we walk in here, it kind of looks like a dead city, but it's very busy during the week. Okay. Now, because this path, it is so long and so confusing, we got lost in here all the time, even as locals, Torontonian, all the time, like every day, okay? So we can't use Google Maps in here as well because, well, we use that for everything, right? But not in here because Google Maps doesn't know that we're underground, okay? Google Maps will say, turn right to King Street, and then we're turning right onto the wall. So to to, the government proposed a possible solution to end all of these confusion. They say, why don't you guys put some street signs inside the path? As we can see, we don't have any street signs in here. Well, the private companies, they said, no, we're not going to do that. Why? Why? Well, because a lost customer is usually a very, very good customer. Let's say you enter this path, you want to head to Eaton Center shopping mall. Let's say you want to go to Sephora to buy some perfume. But now you come in here and you're lost and you look behind you, big red sign, Shoppers Drug Mart. You would just think, okay, I'm lost. It's okay, I don't have to go to Sephora anymore. I can just come here to buy my perfume. It's because of capitalism, we all get lost inside the path. Yes. Now just one more question before we move on. This space, it is also one of those kind of infrastructures where it is publicly accessible but privately owned. So this time, who is paying the security companies? Is it A, government, or B, private companies? Who thinks that it is, this time it will be different, it will be A, government this time, that is paying the security. We got one person, two, no? Half?
No, maybe
No?
private still.
Okay, so we got one person, two. Okay, who thinks that this time it'll still be the same? It'll still be private companies. That's the majority. Okay, correct answer is the private companies.
I
Trick
never,
question.
I never winning.
Still be private companies. How it works basically, there are
Because I'm working
27
government.
different businesses in here, and all of them, they own a very tiny portion of the path, each of them. They either just take care of their own security, or they will partner up with businesses close by them, and together they will take care of that small little area inside the path together. So this is it for the path. For the next stop, we're gonna check out the old City Hall, which is my favorite story to tell in my tour.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Heating system, underground heating system. Means so confusing. Oh, this is old city. I thought the church that, but it is. This is old Toronto City Hall.
Okay, alrighty guys. Right now we're in front of the old City Hall, which is my favorite story to tell in my tour. But before we get into that, let's all go ahead and take a look at this building. It has quite a few interesting features. For example, on both sides, left and right, on top of these columns, we have some lion sculptures, and on top of the pillars, and on the left side and the middle as well, we have some ugly faces on top of these pillars, and in the middle of these domes, we have some dragons. And lastly, on top of the clock tower over here, we have 4 gargoyles on top. Now, the architect of this building was almost as interesting as the building itself. This old City Hall, it was built in 1899 by this architect named Edward James Lennox. He was quite a personality. Only 1 year after his graduation from university, he joined this architectural competition, which says that if he won, he would be able to get a contract by the government to build exactly the City Hall right over here. Well, he joined and he won, so obviously he became very, very cocky. So after he got the contract, he promised the government 2 things. The first promise was that he would only need 5 years to build the City Hall. And then the second promise was that he would only need 5 million Canadian dollars to be doing so. Well, obviously he lied very, very badly. He didn't use only 5 years, but he doubled the time and used 10 years, a whole decade, to work on this project. And he also threw away the $5 million budget, and he used a whopping 50 million Canadian dollars. He said, add a 0 times 10, okay? He said, what's a budget? I don't know, never heard of it, okay? Well, obviously the government officials became very, very angry at him at the time. But this guy, he had the audacity to ask the government officials, he said, I want you guys to put my name on the plaque amongst all the government officials' names, but I don't want my name just to be any regular font. I want my name to be the biggest font on the plaque because I'm the architect of the city hall, obviously, duh, okay? Well, the government officials, they're very pissed at him, so they say, how about no? How about we don't add your name at all? How about that? Because you broke all of your promises, so no, we're not gonna do that. And you're just gonna be forgotten forever and ever after you die. Okay, how about that? Well, EJ Lennox became very angry after he heard this, and he decided to take revenge. Okay?
What?
Yes. He made 2 revenges, not in any sort of violent way, but actually in some funny way. Remember all those ugly faces we saw earlier on top of the pillars? These ugly faces with their tongue out or frowning or angry face or with a weird facial looking expression, they're all actually the faces of the government officials that he was fighting with.
Really?
Yes. What a guy, what a guy. Okay? And right in the middle, the 5th face from the left over here, there is a very handsome, smiley face
Oh, that
with a
guy.
completely normal facial looking expression.
Yeah.
And that is indeed the legend, EJ Lennox himself.
Ah.
Yes, right there, right in the middle. Okay? So that's the first revenge that he did. And then for the second revenge, we're gonna need a little bit of good eyesight to do that, but don't worry, we'll do it together. It's on this side, so let's all follow me to go take a look at that.
Sure.
Clock tower is the very top floor. Okay? And on this top floor, you will see 6 windows and 6 pillars. Everybody follow? Yeah? Okay, if you see that, you're on the right floor. Now we're gonna start counting. We're gonna count the second pillar from the left. 1, 2, and on top of the second pillar, you will find a letter N. If you don't see it, look a little bit higher. It's right there. Everybody follow?
Yeah, I can see the N. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah? No?
N.
Yeah? Okay? Yes.
Ah, yes.
Yes. No. Uh-huh. Okay. Anyone needs help? Let me know. You see it? Okay, nice. Once you see the end, it is pretty easy to figure out the rest. You're gonna count again 8 squares, so right side of the end, you will find the next letter O. Yeah? Everybody follow? Yeah, okay. This is the last thing we're gonna count, I promise. 4 squares, so right side of the O, you will find the last letter X. Everybody follow? Yes,
No.
very nice. Okay, NOX. What does it mean? Well, since the government officials, they refused to put EJ Lennox's name on the plaque, so he said, fine, I'll do it myself. So he put architect Edward James Lennox all over the buildings surrounding the top of the rim. NOX, they are the last few letters of his name, so we're only looking at the very final one of his masterpiece right here. Yes. And a few years later, EJ Lennox, his legend, he passed away, and at that point, the government officials, they decided, they're like, you know what, even though he broke all of his promises, he was still a good architect at the end of the day, so they finally decided to put his name on the plaque amongst all the government officials' names, and
Do you know where's the end? But they said, she said, what is the OX? Where is the X?
It's above the fifth window. It's above the fifth window.
Over there. Okay, gotcha. Oh, we're going to go there.
Right now we have arrived in our final district of the tour, entertainment district, where all the fun stuffs are. In this area, we have restaurants of any cuisine. We have a lot of bars, pubs, a lot of theaters as well, thrift shops, tattoo shops, cannabis shops. I don't know if you guys are into that. Anyways, just now when we walked past the street, we might have noticed that there's this building with a truck crashing into it. On top of this building, it says CTV, and on this truck, it says CP24. Both of them, they are news stations here in Toronto, both owned by the same mother company, Bell Media. CP24 is us Torontonians' #1 source of breaking news. On the truck, there is this little special feature. They say that as long as the wheels are turning, the station will also be running. But here's the thing, the wheels actually run 24/7, which also means that CP24, this news station, is running 24/7 to provide us Torontonians breaking news at all times. Pretty nice of them. Now, on a new topic, not about news, but about street art. Does anyone know, trivia question time, does anyone know what is the difference between a piece of mural and a piece of graffiti? Difference between mural and graffiti. Anyone?
Graffiti is just paint. Murals got actual pieces of mosaic or ceramic or something like that.
Close. Getting close.
One is illegal and the other one is legal.
Yes. Yeah, 1 point. Yes. Yes. Murals, they are completely legal and commissioned, whereas for graffitis, they are illegal and the artists don't get paid anything doing that. Right behind us, this is a perfect example of a piece of mural. This blue lady under the sea with some lemons. It is on the wall of this shop, Masica. They sell really nice coffees and gelato. I recommend this place because the owner is Italian, so they're pretty authentic, and their lines usually starts forming late afternoon, and they're always busy and full evening to nighttime. So yeah, I really recommend this place. I tried the biscotto flavor and the wild berry cheesecake. Really nice. Recommend this place. Anyways, back to the mural. On this piece of mural, bottom left corner, on this piece of lemon, you will find that there are some words on top. Those words, they are supposed to be the artist's name tag. There's this unspoken rule in the street art world, which basically says that if you're not better than anyone that came before you, you should not tag your own name on top, or you should not put your own artwork on top of other people's ones. If you look just a little bit left side to this piece of mural, on that metal gate over there, and also on that brick colored building, you'll see that all of the street artists, they have chosen to do their graffiti right over there and not on top of that piece of mural as a sign out of respect, which I find it really beautiful because you don't have to tell them, they just know that this rule existed. If you guys are interested in street arts in general, you can walk about 10 minutes this way. You will find the very famous Graffiti Alley, which is just a huge alleyway full of street arts. They're all legal, all commissioned. People usually go there to take pictures for Instagram and whatnot. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out. For the next stop, before we move on, it's not really a trivia question, but it is 1 point for whoever that can find a piece of mural with a violin on top. Okay.
Right there.
Oh, where?
Over there.
Oh, the violinist. I didn't catch that.
Well, the fun time always passed by so quickly. Hate to break it to you guys, but this is actually going to be the second last stop of our tour. So please just stick with me for a little bit longer. I'll keep you guys entertained for just a little bit longer. Okay. Just now, when we were right about to cross the street, there's this building called TIFF Bell Light Box. TIFF Bell Light Box. TIFF stands for Toronto International Film Festival. It's sort of a big thing for directors and filmmakers out here in the city. They offer really, really unique films that you can't find anywhere else. And they also offer other events like talks, boot camps, exhibitions, etc. So if you guys are interested in films in general, I would really recommend you guys to check that out as an activity to do while you're staying in Toronto. Now, speaking of films, right behind us on the ground, there is a Walk of Fame over here. On this Walk of Fame, there are names of famous people who are all Canadian born that people might not even know that they're Canadian. So on here we have filmmakers, actors, musicians, athletes, writers, etc., etc. A lot of different names, about 190 of them in total. Well, before we go ahead and take a look at that, I would just like to share my personal favorite from this walk. His name is Terry Fox. Anyone heard of him? Terry Fox. Yeah, classic Canadian story. I gotta do it. Terry Fox. Well, Terry Fox, he's considered an athlete, but he's done way more than just an athlete. He's a national hero here in Canada. Well, his story goes like this. He was born in 1958 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. At a young age, he's been pretty active. He's been pretty passionate with sports. He at first had a passion for basketball, and he worked really, really hard trying to make it to the basketball team of his high school. But unfortunately, despite his hard work, he did not make the team. But something else happened to him that would change his life forever. At a young age of only 18 years old, he unfortunately got diagnosed with osteosarcoma, which is a type of bone cancer. Well, at the time, the cancer treatments were not that advanced, so they had no other solution except to just cut off his leg. So in 1977, he got his right leg amputated, and he got a prosthetic leg. Now he's crushed because he can't play basketball anymore. One day, his brother showed him a news article, and on this piece of news article, it's showing that someone started running with a prosthetic leg, which was quite fresh news to them because no one really did that before. Terry Fox, he started to think, well, maybe I can also do something like that. He started this thing called the Marathon of Hope. It is a cross-country run all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. He was hoping that he could do this run in order to raise money for cancer research so that people that get cancer after him won't have to suffer anymore. He started his way in St. John's, Newfoundland, and he will run a full marathon every single day. Slowly but gradually, he started becoming well-known and famous, and he started appearing in a lot of news articles. At the time, Canada's population was at about 24 million. He was hoping that he'd get at least $1 from every single person, then he would have 24 million for cancer research. Well, at the end, he had to stop at Thunder Bay because the cancer from his leg had spread to his lungs, and the doctor also warned him, you cannot run anymore because you're literally gonna die. Like a nice Canadian that he was, he went onto the TV and started apologizing to everyone, because you guys know the stereotype where Canadians like to apologize. Yes, he did that. He said, I'm so sorry everyone, I cannot run anymore, but I want you guys to carry on the legacy for me. Shortly after, he passed away, but we still carried on the legacy for him. Every year in September, we still do the Terry Fox Run, which is pretty popular amongst high school and middle school, sometimes even elementary school as well. Yeah, we do this run to raise money for charity, cancer research, cancer awareness. There's also quite a few organizations named after him as well, such as the Terry Fox Foundation, which is a huge organization for cancer research. By now, they have far passed on the 24 million. They have raised about 900 million now, and it's all thanks to this guy, Terry Fox, and he forever remains a national hero here in Canadians' hearts. Okay, so this is the story of Terry Fox. On the walk, aside from Terry Fox, other famous people that I know include Celine Dion, Justin Bieber. They are on the other side of the street. On this side, we have Rachel McAdams, Ryan Reynolds, Jim Carrey, James Cameron.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah, people like that. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and look at the Walk of Fame, and I want you guys to tell me who your favorite is from here. That is a very good question. I believe you have to be first really famous, and then they would see like how many people. And then whenever you walk in the center of the violin, what is the meaning of the violin? Oh yeah, there's Mike Myers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike Myers. Where's the Jim Carrey? Are there any
There was David Steinberg.
Asian people in this? Any Asian, Chinese, or some other?
Sandra Oh, you know Sandra
Oh,
Oh?
Sandra, where
Yeah,
is
she's
here?
Like a
already
little
passed.
bit, like right there. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Sandra Oh, oh
Yeah,
yeah. I like her. Yeah.
Yeah, from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Sandra Oh.
Beside it, right there, and then we'll.
Oh, Terry Fox, this one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Union Station, which also means that we are at our very final stop of the tour, which also brings us to a very final trivia question of the tour. Okay, does everyone see the top part of the CN Tower, the white and red part? Yeah? Okay. Trivia question is, how in the world did they get this top part up there when the construction cranes could not get this high? Anyone? 1 point. Very nice. There you go. Yes, helicopter. At the time when Toronto was building a CN Tower, they borrowed a military helicopter from Russia called the Oga, and there are 4 parts on top. They're strapped out part by part like a Lego. 1, 2, 3, 4, and bada bing, bada boom, we have CN Tower. Right now we can actually go inside the tower and check out the view of the city. Different floor has a different ticket price. Inside the CN Tower, you also have the restaurants and some coffee shops as well. There is a minimum spend for the restaurants, $75 per person, which in my opinion is quite high. They also have a full menu full of adventurous activities, such as X-Walk or something along the same line. But for those kind of activities, you do have to sign a gas waiver, so please do it at your own risk. Okay? If you guys are looking for an alternative for CN Tower, I would say you guys can go to any rooftop bars or restaurants that we can pay for food or drinks and enjoy the view of the city. It's not going to be as high as CN Tower, but it's just a possible alternative. But ultimately, it really depends on your preferences. Some tourists find a CN Tower worth it, some might not, really depending on what you're looking for. Okay? Before I end this tour, I would just like to find out the trivia winner. Who remembers how many points they have? You all remember how many points they have? Okay, so that means we're all winners. Everyone, please, a round of applause for everyone. Yay! Okay, so this is it. The prize is actually the round of applause. So this is it for the tour. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today and sticking with me to the end. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your trip. Yes.